Whoa. So new people on this side, you guys have been here. Wait, so again, show of hands. Who's here for the first time? What do you guys think so far?
Great learning experience.
Yeah, so it's definitely one of the better ones in the sense that you're gonna. Go ahead.
Sorry.
You're learning local, applicable knowledge. Each and every one of the people speaking at this event does deals here in New Jersey, and I can attest to that because we all know each other. We buy houses from each other. We sell property to each other. Me, in my case, I lend to half of these guys. We grew up together.
True.
No, it's weird. Like, we all met when we were 19, 20, 21. And I'm talking Shamil, I'm talking Nick. Nick and I went to Rutgers together. Steingraber, we're Steingraber. Nick and I apparently went to Rutgers together. And the reason I wanted to start with that is because I can tell you that based on that same notion, a handful of you guys are going to be here 10, 15, 20 years from now. And more than likely, you're going to be telling the rest of the world about your adventures and what you've accomplished in this. And it's always a fulfilling experience. Like it always feels good to give back, to tell you that you also can. That you've also, are putting yourself in a place where this could happen. How many people have done at least one flip, one rehab, one deal in this room? Raise their hands. Okay. Who's never done anything in real estate and wants to get started? It's about half and half. It's about right. It's about right. Oh, look, good time to get started, right? Definitely a lot of demand, a lot of knowledge, a lot of practical, a lot of easily attainable information out there. So I commend you all, the ones that have started, of course, and the ones that are here to get started. Before we get started, look, before we get started, can you guys close the door back there, please? There was a couple of discrepancies on the schedule and the info that we're supposed to give out. So just with a show of hands, it's at the bottom, dude. Just lift the thing. With a show of hands, who's here for the Burr method? Who came to this room to learn or wants to know more about the Burr method? Okay. Who came into this room to learn about systems and automations? All right. All right. So look, the real topic today was to teach you guys a little bit about how to automate your business. That being said, it is sort of a heavy topic, and those of you guys who do want to learn it, I mean, I saw a couple hands there. Hit me up directly, and I'll be more than glad to walk you through what we've done. But in essence, it really is part of evolution, right? Like once you have your business in place, you start to figure out ways to literally get yourself out of it. It's the idea. So let's leave it at there is a lot of potential on that end, and there is a new modern way to play real estate. One that is not to be confused with the yellow letter stuff and the bandit sign stuff and all that stuff. It's still good and still applicable. If your mentors, your gurus are telling you go stamp some signs and some posters in your neighborhood, look, if that feels good, go do it. All I'm telling you is the game has changed a little bit, and it's not necessarily the case. So let's go through Burr. And there are some really special announcements we want to make that, you guys are honestly going to be the first group that we're announcing this to. So it should be quite exciting. Before I get started, though, my mom raised me from a very early stage telling me that I never show up anywhere with my hands, empty-handed. And it became a mantra to me. I'm the guy that carries a case of cheap wine bottles in my trunk. So whenever I show up to a random place, I go, hey, I thought of you. And people go, whoa, that's amazing. So nothing cheap about what I'm giving you here, but it is something that I want to give away. Now, you would see this normally if you became one of our clients, if you signed up with us online, you would actually get this. Given the fact that I don't see a lot of our clients here, well, some.
Me.
True.
And Monty.
True. Wadi, what's up, bro? Once he started with deal zero with us. Once he's on his third, fourth flip. They're all successful. Wanty, you're an inspiration, dude. So let me get started offering you guys a gift. What you're gonna see when you hit that QR is a form. I would love for you guys to fill that form. Give me your basic info. Nothing's mandatory. If you don't want to give me your number, don't give it. But what's gonna happen is you're gonna get an email from me welcoming you to ARKit. You're gonna get all of our programs. You're gonna get an entire array of everything that we do and we can offer. However, you're also gonna get a second email. That second email is gonna have a link to an ebook. The ebook is called The Richest Man in Babylon. Who's read it? Whoa, that's The Richest Man in Babylon. The Richest Man in Babylon is the story of ARKit. It's the story of a guy that came into a city called Babylon and taught the people of Babylon how to thrive, how to invest, how to save, how to buy land, how to rent, in a nutshell. And Babylon became what Babylon now we know of, right? A metropolis, the first metropolis of them all. So it's a good read. It changed my life profoundly at the age of 19. That's when I first read it. And ultimately, I decided to name my company after it. And I hope it's a great bathroom read. If you guys are into that type of reading, you'll bang it out in a week. And it'll give you some good tips. So that's my gift to you. I wanted to just start it with that. All right. So, I am going to switch pages a little bit and hopefully don't miss it. All right, guys. So, I want to kind of hop over right to the BRRRR method. First of all, we're all familiar with the acronym, right? We all know what the BRRRR method stands for, right? Yes, yes?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Have you guys ever been to thebrrrmethod.com?
No.
It's the website that sort of created the wave and the buzz and the noise. And ultimately, I have lawyers that now know and go and ask, are you BRRRR in this one? Oh, yeah. Yeah, counsel. Realtors, hey, would you like a deal so you can BRRRR? Well, yeah, hell yeah, let's BRRRR. Anyway, so you are meeting the proud owners of thebrrrmethod.com. We bought the website 4 years ago in hopes to create a buzz, in hopes to spread the word of what can be done. See, when we started doing BRRRR, we didn't call it BRRRR. We just called them holds. It was a buy and hold.
That's everything we buy.
That's it. So our model was always, let's buy something that we can hold, and if we cannot, let's sell it off. A little bit backwards. We hardly ever got into something like, we're just going to buy it and sell it. I mean, we did too, but holding it, always, it was always captivating. It was so captivating that we amounted a large rental portfolio in a matter of 5 years. And we started with zero. We had flipped over, by that point, over 400 houses, and we had zero rentals. And there was something so fundamentally wrong with that that we decided to change our entire business model. And it's actually changing again. We're going from regular rentals to short-term stay rentals, Airbnb. And we'll get into all that in a second. So we went ahead and picked a place, a city. My city is Plainfield. Anybody familiar with Plainfield, New Jersey? We all are. Come on, we all know Plainfield. You've all heard how bad it is and how dirty and dangerous. And I agree. Yeah, it's come a long way.
Come along.
When we first got to town, it was one scary place. And I'm talking 10 years ago. I'm talking post-crash. When the markets crashed, people scrambled, justly so. People ran up to the hills was the term. No, literally, Plainfield, there's a Plainfield, and there are hills right above. So a lot of the ownership in Plainfield was not the locals. It was the landlords that lived around the town. And when the markets crashed, everyone sort of scrambled. So when we come in at a time where the term is blood in the streets, right? We've heard blood in the streets? Yeah. Can you wait to hear it again?
Yeah.
It's an ugly term. It's an ugly term, but it symbolizes a whole lot. It symbolizes opportunity in a dark way, yeah. But it's the truth. It's what happens when markets crash. The leftovers are quite potentially profitable. So, markets crashed, and we started looking for a place where we can start buying rentals. No, literally start buying rentals. However, like you guys know, you can buy a 2-family house in Jersey City for $500,000, rent it for a whole lot, but what's your margin on it? Nah, this is New Jersey, people. We have high taxes. We have high purchase prices. Yeah, we have high rent, and now more than ever. But you don't always make sense of those numbers. Those numbers are not always as, I hear people buying in North Carolina, in Texas. Like, dude, I'm making $800 a month. I'm like, wow, $800 a month. Our average is $250 per door per month. And that's with a whole lot of year and experience and trial and error. So, what we realized though is, the common standard, what people think is you want to find a rental and you want to, put tenants in there and make money and live happily ever after, right? It makes sense. That being said, you're forgetting about the value add part, right? I'm a lender. We did over 300 and something rental loans last year alone. And I can tell you only a small portion of those. Frankly, that I recall, it was roughly 4 to 5 of those were people that said, hey, I found a really good rental and I want to own it. It doesn't happen. The real play is value add. The real play is finding something with the same figures that you found that flip, that rehab, 65% of the ARV. We know that formula, 65% of the ARV, right? So the same numbers apply to that deal. The only difference is that you're not selling it. The only difference is that you're gonna finish it, instead of selling it, you're gonna rent it, and then you're gonna refinance it, right? We understand that concept. The refinance portion is really what I wanna lean on. We know how to buy, and if you don't, you will. We know how to fix, and if you don't, you will. And if you still don't, then you gotta take a class just for that, because that in itself is a little complex. We know how to rent, and if you don't, hire a realtor who will. But even with us, our biggest fear was refinancing. Now, let me bring you back to time a little bit. And I'm gonna go back 6 years ago. So not a whole lot of time ago. But first of all, we didn't call it BRRRR. Like I said, there was no BRRRR, didn't exist. And to us, hard money lenders, private lenders, were not the solution. You couldn't go to a hard money lender and say, hey, I need to refinance this thing out on a 30-year fixed. They'll go like, wait, did you say 5 months, 12 months? That's about as much as I'm gonna give you. So the business in itself changed 4 years ago. And I'm talking nationwide, and I'm talking massive dollars. What I'm referring to specifically is Wall Street. The reason you guys even know about BRRRR at the moment, the reason why this entire BRRRR thing is a sort of a movement, is because Wall Street put their money into this 4 years ago. Wall Street came in and in essence said, hey Mario, you lend to those guys, give them 30-year money, and we'll buy it from you. Once it's done, once you've done all the homework and all the due diligence on these people, we'll come in and buy those loans from you. By the way, what I'm describing happens every single day with the FHA. Fannie and Freddie buy loans from every single loan officer, mortgage officer, all these brokers that you guys deal with. None of them is their money. A little bit different than ours. We kind of have to put our own. In their world, it's the FHA. It's Fannie and Freddie Mac. So the concept that I'm describing to you it's the same. It's always happened. The only difference is the money that came into this is no longer the government. It's private. So what did that do? Well, it allowed for people to become landlords, right? And it completely pushed little banks, credit unions, small regional banks, sort of to the sidelines on this. Right now, interest rates are a little crazy, and I'm sure some of you guys know. But going back 6 months ago, our pricing on 30-year fixed loans was actually cheaper than our local credit unions. That's sinking. When did that happen? When is private money cheaper than bank money? Yeah, it happened. Not right now, but it'll come back. So that's, at its most fundamental portion, that's why we're all here. That's how this whole thing happened. And now, it won't stop. Now it's a proven concept. Now, Wall Street, myself, and everyone involved in this know that some of you guys can become landlords and can actually own property and can manage it and can cash flow it. It's no longer a big boy play. It's no longer, I need to have excellent credit and I'm so bankable in my bank account, blah, 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 blah. No, that game is done. We don't even care how much money you have in your bank account right now. We care how much rent money that property's making. That's what we care about. Everybody with me? Mm-hmm. So welcome to the new world, people. It is a new world. It's a world that did not exist 5 years ago. It's a world that, to give you an example, for me, every single rental that we own, that we purchased until about roughly 4 years ago, has been financed by the same credit union that financed my first commercial building. It's the only thing I knew. It's the only thing I had. It's the only people that would say, okay, you know, real estate investor, your credit is good? You got money in the bank? Hey, it's behind you, dude. Behind you. Oh. So unless you had all those, unless you checked all those boxes, you wouldn't be able to refinance a property. Or you could, maybe under your own name, right? They still do a lot of that. What we're proposing is completely different. Your name does not exist. This is under an entity. It's an LLC that you own that it will actually take title to this rental. Everybody with me? Mm-hmm. Okay. Any questions so far? I'm about to get into numbers, so bust out your pencils. Shoot.
The LLC, I guess you have the person, like, it's under the LLC, but you're the person.
You're personally guaranteeing the loan, yes. Yeah, and that
It's a hidden inquiry on credit, but not.
Correct. So it's we run your credit for the purposes of seeing, well, who you are, but no, you don't see it on your credit. It does not report, even those loans, just like bridge loans, do not report to your credit whatsoever. Yeah, so it's a huge benefit. So we have a lot of people that have been doing this the normal way, and the normal way is, you know, going to a bank, and then the bank, for the most part, hardly ever kept it in their books. Banks, just like with the FHA, will take that loan and sell it or underwrite it from the beginning to Freddie Mac. Right? So Freddie is the investor's bank. Freddie has guidelines that will allow you to have, who knows, how many houses? You know, 10 houses, right? You're maxed out at 10. After 10 houses, you're a liability. You're a serious liability. So a bank not only will not lend you money, but they'll more than likely tell you, hey, go unload some of these. Some of these are not doing that great. You really should get rid of some if you want to continue doing business with us, of course. Yeah. But all that changed 4 years ago. There is no limit to how many rentals you can have. There's absolutely no limit. The only limit is the deal itself. How good of a deal is it? The guidelines that we put forth are fairly flexible. To give you an example, whenever we did a refinance with a bank, not only that they checked, of course, everything personal, but they wanted to know to the dot, right, how much money is spent on the shared light that hits the driveway, that is obviously there on the appraisal, and I don't see it here on your expenses. I don't know. Frankly, I didn't even know there was a light, but I don't know, $30 a month? Well, that changes the numbers, right? But wow. So there's a lot of that. When you're dealing with credit unions, there are boards. There's board approvals. So yes, I'll give you a loan. Let me go ask my boss. Nah, he don't want to give you the loan. Why? Well, you have 10 already.
How long does it take?
Jesus Christ. Our last refinance took 90 days. Ours take 3 weeks.
I just had a question. Can you cash refi a prefab?
Yes, as long as it's completed. Like, so it's done, yes, we can. Give you the money to go build it?
No, I'm talking about like if it's a prefab right now, it's an existing Airbnb, it's profitable.
Oh, yeah. So let's get into that. We can. So anyway, so what I just described to you guys is obviously what was, what is now. What I'm going to get into now is some of the programs that we have. And the reason I want to, I mentioned before that I wanted to introduce something new. And this is it. So what you see to your left is our basic long-term rental program. It could also be applicable as a portfolio, right? So if you have more than one property, you can own three minimum under the same LLC. You can also do that.
Can it be owner-occupied?
No. So nothing that we do is owner-occupied. And for the purposes of clarity, and you being in this room, you personally do not exist. Your entity does. You become your entity. And I know it's words right now that you're hearing. The deeper you get into this, the more relevant that becomes. From a banking standpoint, from a taxation standpoint, from a liability standpoint, you become an LLC in order to grow. Without it, you're not. You're putting yourself at risk. So anyway, so for the purposes of this, yes, this is strictly non-owner occupied type of investments. And that also applies to, let's say, a 3-family house that you want to buy to live at the bottom and then, rent the other 2 units. Yeah, that's not us. That's not us. We are actually in the middle of finalizing an agreement for us to become actually a full-blown lender, conventional lender as well. But for the purpose of this presentation, I'm sticking to hard money. And we'll make that huge announcement in a couple of months, and hopefully a lot of you guys become a client on that end as well. So anyway, so the takeaway that I want you guys to have, and I guess the commentary that we haven't shared with anyone, is this right here. Is your first line. That first line was added 3 weeks ago. What it's telling you, and before that first line, of course, this is as best as things would be. It didn't get better than that. So what am I telling you? I'm telling you that on a purchase, normally we can give you 80% of the cost, right? So your deposit on a rental is how much? Boom. So you buy a rental that's already a rental that you don't have anything to do with. Remember I was mentioning this in the beginning, I hardly ever see those. But if you do happen to see one or own one already and you want to refinance it, right, so that's where that's applicable. We can, if you want to refinance it, up to 80. If you want to cash it out, 75. Everyone understands those figures? 75% of whatever the value of the building is now. Right? So my property after rehab, after renting it, is worth $100,000. My credit is up there. I want to cash it out. How much do I get? Up to $75,000. If I want to just refinance it, no cash out, just put a new loan, 80. Okay? Please learn that concept. Learn the quick math in your head. If my house is worth $200,000 by the time it's all said and done, I can get $150,000 out. So therefore, if I bought it for $50,000 and I went completely over budget, I completely blew this thing. I thought it would be 50, but it's now 80. It's 100. Now I'm at 150 all in. But wait a second. If this thing is worth 200 and I refinance it, I'm okay, right? I may not make a killing, but I'll get to keep the house. I'll get to rent it, and in time, that'll make sense. Right, so just like you're really quick with the fix and flip numbers, you're like, well, if the ARV is this, or 65% of the ARV, just like that. But turn it into rentals. Train yourself to think, if I hold on to this thing, what would it look like? Okay? All right, so now that you understand the second line, I want to bring back the first line. The first line is the newest program we have. And you'll see it if you signed up with a QR. You'll get announcements on this. You'll get all kinds of things. But in essence, we're rolling out a 40-year fixed loan. A 40-year fix. Yeah, I know, it's sort of a mutant of its own right. And I mean it, it's a mutant. It's a market-dependent mutant. Also did not exist. It didn't exist until 3 months ago. So it's a baby. But it's a badass baby. And here's how it works. It's a 40-year term with a 10-year interest-only fixed rate, by the way. The entire thing is fixed. But it's the first 10 years, you're paying interest only. You're not paying down your principal. Now, does that feel good or bad? Feels weird, right? What if I told you that you're forgetting about one little piece? You're forgetting that if you're not paying your principal, your monthly payment is substantially less. Right? It's substantially less, especially for the first 10 years. So, the idea with these loans is that for the first 10 years of it, you're cash flowing it. You're bringing money in. You're not paying your principal down. You're not. But you're bringing money in every single month. Within 10 years, assuming that you keep it. Just so you guys know one thing, I mean, we all want to hold, we all. The average investor holds their property, their rentals, for roughly 7 years. There are some of us that own longer and will continue to own longer, especially on commercial. The commercial side, people own for longer. The residential side, like the single family to 4 units, the average is 7 years. You're more than likely gonna sell it, or worse, have to sell it. Don't forget about that part. Oh, you forgot, you big landlord, you. You big landlords. Yeah, no, don't forget, markets crash. It's called liquidations. It's called, shit, I gotta sell what I got. So, anyway, so my point is, after the 10th year, it becomes a regular 30-year fixed pay down type of loan. So you're back to where you originally started. The benefit. Why the hell would I do this, right? This is why. Oh, that is why. Because through these loans, you can cash out or refinance more than you would with any loan out there. The minute I release the 85% loan to cost, my phone is going to blow up more than I don't even know how to handle. That's why we haven't released it. That's why we saved it for today. That's why we wanted to keep it to a small, concise room that understands the whole process. That if they do want to get into this, they could be our first group of investors to jump on this. Yes, within the next 2 weeks, it'll be released to everybody else. And I'm sure it's going to go bananas. What's up, dude? Yeah, so they all have them. It's, and I'm going to bring it back to Wall Street on this. You can, do we all know what prepayment penalties are? Mm-hmm. Right, if you sell your or refinance your property for a certain amount of time. Right, so it's a very, very common structure within rental loans. And the reason being, I'm giving you the rate that I'm giving you because I know that I'm going to make money over 3 years, 4 years, 5 years based on that rate that I gave you. Now, if you roll with me for 5 years, we're good. Now, let's say you decide to call it quits on year 3. Well, I'm not going to make the money that I thought I was going to make by giving you the low rate back then, right? Right, so now you got to pay some of that. That's the notion behind it. That's the idea behind it. We got it? Say yes. Yes. All right. So you're going to see them very often in these type of loans. The biggest difference, and so you can request for 0. You can say, no, I don't want to. I don't like them. And when we get it, and that's fine, we can do it. But your rate is going to go up. Roughly 0.25%. It's more or less, more than likely about 0.25% of a rate shooting up. Okay? So you have that choice. You have the ability to do it. Now, I can tell you right now, if you're getting into rentals and your fear is prepayment penalties, don't get into rentals. This is a landlord's game. This is not a house flipper's game. You with me? 3 years is the minimum you're going to see. 5 years is becoming the sort of the standard in the industry. All right? So, again, the biggest takeaway that I want you guys to have is the 85%. If you run numbers based on what I gave you before, you're looking at 100,000 instead of the 75 that you would have gotten or the 70 that you would have gotten. Now you're looking at $15,000 more. The minute you have a $500,000 loan, those numbers are substantially bigger. Now you're bringing home an extra $50,000, $60,000 because of this. Oh, and by the way, the rate is exactly the same. The rate is the same as if you did a 30-year fix from the beginning. Before I'll get back to questions in a second. Let me just wrap up the second one. The second one that you see to the left is our Airbnb loan. So, fairly new to us as well. We released this about 90 days ago. We have a bunch of these files in processing, and they are exactly what you think they are. They are loans that are given not based on the lease that you're going to get for a year, but based on nothing. Based on you. Based on data that we get from Airbnb that matches to what you project you're going to get. And we base it off of that. So there is a loan out there. If Airbnb is one you want to get into, there is a loan out there. And just to put things into perspective, I'm actually in the middle of it myself. Who knows Seaside Heights? Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're doing a little takeover of Seaside with the Airbnb play. It's our exit. It's the exit we implemented in Seaside Heights. How we're buying it and what we're buying, I'm not sharing that today. For that, you got to come in. So rates are a little bit different, a little bit higher, a little bit less debt, but it's not restrictive. It's not restrictive as to you having to, there's not a whole lot of restrictions. We used to have to send financial statements on our rentals every single year. We don't even request them anymore. It's not restrictive in a sense that there's no requirements for you to have any type of lease in place. And I know it sounds like words, but when you read the actual mortgages you're signing, those big packages say you owe millions of dollars, it holds a relevance. Like when you're buying a regular rental, you're telling the bank, hey, I'm going to have this rented, dude. Don't worry about it. I'm going to have 30 leases on this. That's what you're telling the bank. If you've never read your mortgages, please do. That's not an Airbnb. You're not holding a mortgage. You're not telling us you're holding a mortgage. Does that make sense? Everybody get it?
No.
You're not breaching your contract, man. If I have to say it, you're not breaking your contract. By you renting your own home, as a breach of contract. By you getting a rental loan from a bank and saying that you're going to have a yearly lease and then turning around and Airbnb in it, you're in breach of contract. So for all intents and purposes, the bank can come and it's called due on sale. The bank can turn around and say, hey, you messed this up. Pay me back. Will it happen? Probably not. Probably not. But let me tell you something. As a real estate investor, I've learned a couple things. There are two ways to do things, right? The half-ass way and the good way. The other one is the half-ass way.
Is the Airbnb subject to Jersey only, like that?
Nationwide. Everything that I'm telling you is nationwide. There's no restrictions on any state or, well, no, actually, no. We have Nevada.
Minnesota, North Dakota.
Thank you, Jenny. By the way, just a quick round of applause for my team. That's Jenny. I don't know if you guys have met Jenny yet. Jenny's awesome. Karen's over there. Karen is our head of business dev. Basically, she runs shit. Dan over there. Dan's my partner. Been my partner for 15 years. So what is a newest addition to our team? So who's a wholesaler in here? Who else? Who wants to get into wholesaling? Who's heard how much money you can make in wholesaling? Not a whole lot. Well, I'll take 2 seconds to introduce you guys to our newest partner. We own Direct Buyers nationwide together. Direct Buyers is our own wholesaling operation. Yes, we have multiple companies on multiple things. So what? Please stand up. Let them see you. Let them get a glance of you. Sawad is, she's a wholesaler. She's been a wholesaler before we met. And she's also a rising TikTok star. And this is relevant because she teaches people how to wholesale for free. I know. And I was like, what the fuck, really? Yeah, look, some of us believe in sharing. Some of us believe that the more we give, the more we get. Some of us are living proof of that. And it's one of the connections that I have with Sawad is that we share that belief that the more and the better you put out, the more and the better that comes back. And apparently, a few 100,000 people also share that vision very much. And that's her. So I think I'm done. How much time do I have? What do I?
Lunch left.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Time we have, what?
All right. Here. Let's go through this real quick. Wanted to make sure you guys had this, and we have monthly lunches and invites for stuff like this. So if you want to hear more about it, just shoot us an email, and we'll make sure that you get in. In essence, we work very closely with realtors, with wholesalers, and loan officers too, but a lot of realtors. And we have an entire referral system where if you do have anyone that's looking for a loan and you want to sort of be involved, you want to make sure that they not only go to a good source, but potentially capitalize from it. And look, let me tell you something, guys. This is something that a lot of people start as almost like, yeah, you know what? Like, I know this guy, and I know this other guy. I can put them together, make $750 real quick. Why not? $1,000? I mean, it's all there. But the reality is, as that evolves, a lot of these people see this as a potential business, right? It's an extra added set of revenue that comes in every single month. So it works especially well with realtors, where they're already dealing with those investors. I mean, they really are on a daily basis. They're working with them. They're farming them. They're showing around, bringing them in cars. The way I see it, at the very least, get some gas money out of it, right? I mean, you're going to get your commission and all that, and that's great. But first of all, your broker's going to take half, right? Or like 70% or whatever the hell. It's become a nice way of really adding to their bottom line. We have, just to give you a couple examples, there's at the top of that group, we have a guy who, on average, makes between $4,000 to $7,000 per month, just on this. He's a full-time realtor. He's a mega agent. I mean, he closes like 50 houses per month. I'm sorry, per year. But this really pays for his team marketing. So works well. Now, if you don't want to be too involved, and that's perfectly okay as well. You don't need to be a broker. You don't need to be on the picture. You don't need to do anything. There is also a form for that. And you get it, and once you have it, you send it in. You choose to be known or not. We can literally tell the client, hey, David sent us that client, or David sent you here, and we thank David for it, or not. Or somebody mentioned you and would love to help. So for those, regardless of how long it takes, I mean, our average closing is about 3 weeks. So on those, you get a nice mailbox check, is what they call it, for $750. No questions asked. No, you get paid at closing, of course. The deal has to close. If not, nobody gets paid. But there is no ties. There is no, hey, you did this for that, and you did that. So it works very well. And it adds to the bottom line. If you're a realtor and you do 2 of these a month, I mean, that's rent money, right? So that's pretty much all I have to you guys. All this stuff is on the QR that I sent you. If you have any other further questions, by all means, shoot us an email. We're easily accessible. And QR, questions. Let's do this. I'll take 5. I'll take 1.
Is there a product where you may wholesale, but it would streamline right into hard money lending for the buyer?
Yeah, so we have what we call funded ready or pre underwritten type of loans where we buy at the auctions a lot. And we take some of those houses and we do what we always do. We go through due diligence, we clean them up, we make sure that they're ready, we get an appraisal, we do inspections, I mean everything that we normally do. And then we come to one of our borrowers, well, we go to all of our borrowers and put it in front of them. And usually one of them takes it. So we do quite a bit of that, but that's only for borrowers. Like we don't put that to the outside world. That's strictly for our people. To become a borrower, real simple. Just go on my website and become one. Look, we don't. If you have a deal, so we have a couple of things that we do a little bit differently. We have a form. We call it a quick quote. We don't need to run your credit to tell you what kind of loan we'll give you. We need you to tell us what you think your credit is. Assuming that you like our terms and assuming that, of course, you were legit about your credit, then we'll run credit. Then we'll pull up your FICO. And that FICO will be good for actually 6 months. So we don't have to look at it again. We don't got to see it. We're going to pull it. It works very well. So yeah. Let's burn it up.
But it's a prefab. When I was working with somebody else, afterwards they said that you can't cash refi a prefab. I don't have a mortgage on it. I paid cash for it.
Yeah, no, I mean we've done them. You've called my company. You said somebody in my company told you that?
No.
Oh.
I was using somebody else.
No, we do them.
And then when it came down to it, because it was a prefab, that
Yeah.
wasn't
So,
able to get
are you sure it was because of the prefab and not because it was rural?
No,
Okay.
I mean Sedona's like the hottest market.
So I can tell you your scenario. If it was rural, yeah, no one's touching it. If it wasn't, it was just a prefab. I mean, I don't understand why they wouldn't.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of a mobile home.
That particular company might understand.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's.
It's like what if it's 50 and it's worth 550?
What's up, dude?
Man, I sent you that development deal.
Oh, nice. How'd it work out?
Well, it's still available, so he's willing to negotiate.
Yeah, it's too expensive.
Yeah. So I mean, if you get a better price now, he's taking all offers now. You know. So
Okay.
I emailed you yesterday, but take a look at it.
Nice.
So I'll just
Thank you, bro.
guys, and then I'll give you the other.
Nice. Thank you for coming. Hey, ¿cómo está? Pleasure. Nice to meet you, man. First time you guys come to one of these? Yeah. First time ever? Yeah, there's a lot of information there. And it's good information too. Like, there are a lot of events where like you'll go and you just like hear gibberish left and right. This one, like we're religious about this one. Like we come here every year. We try to really put out good information every year. So come to a good place.
Yeah, it's a lot of good information.
Come on.
Looking to buy our first house.
You guys just live in Somerville, right? Are you renting over there? Or? Where are you guys renting at?
It's right on the beach.
It's a house or an apartment? Okay, got it. Yeah, no, because we know the developer that built the shop right in. Yeah, and they put really good product. The Wolfgang is one of my favorite restaurants. We'll go there all the time. So, yeah, that's great. I mean, look, she's riding with us. So, what I say to her, say to everyone in my team, if a house that we buy or that comes through our pipeline is something that you like, by all means, let us know. We'll sort of we'll Frankenstein into ownership. Yeah. So Suarez in the middle of doing the same thing right now.
Right now, I'm not extra work. I can go back to the south. There, as long as we're working around the area. So I don't even know, because I travel. We can't. I don't know where I'm going to live, where.
What do you do, man?
I do shock treatment. I do like cement walls, tunnels, and all that. But I mean, we travel a lot. I think our first property was probably like something like that, like a multi-home rental that we're living in right now.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Stuck my laptop. Hey, man.
I gave it to him, man.
Oh, Karen? All right, cool. Thank you.
There is this multi-property last
Get with Sawad, give him a call. That's what they were doing. Were you there Friday? Oh, they were calling.
Love you, but I gotta have you get
Yeah. Thank you, man. Gotta get out of here. I'll be by the booth. Doesn't get old, man. I don't even know what I was saying. I was he's like.
My last one was such an easy
Personal,